Have you ever felt trapped by your own thoughts? Like there's a constant inner voice that replays worries, judges your every move, and just steals your peace? It's a relentless narrator, a critic that never seems to sleep, leaving you in a state of near-constant anxiety. For centuries, we've been taught that our thinking mind is our greatest asset, that logic and reason are the peak of human evolution. But what if that's the very thing causing our suffering? What if our greatest power isn't the ability to think, but the ability to recognize something beyond thought? Eckhart Tolle, one of the most profound spiritual teachers of our time, points to a secret dimension within you that lies beyond the noisy, chaotic mind. It's a silent, peaceful space that is the source of all true wisdom, creativity, and fulfillment. The key is learning how to access this dimension and unlock a life free from the prison of your own mind. Most people spend their entire lives locked within the walls of their own thoughts. They never go beyond a narrow, mind-made, personal sense of self that's conditioned by the past. This is just the human condition for so many of us. We believe we are the voice in our head. We identify with its stories, its fears, and its endless wants. This fundamental mistake is what Albert Einstein called an optical delusion of his consciousness, the experience of seeing oneself as separate from the rest of the universe. Our entire reality becomes a reflection of this one error. But this isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of waking up. Let's be real about the nature of this inner voice. For many of us, it's not a kind guide. It's a tyrant. It's the source of that incessant mental chatter that prevents us from finding any real inner peace. It drags up regrets from the past and projects anxieties onto the future, making sure we're almost never fully present in the only moment that ever truly exists, the now. This is the great illusion that keeps humanity trapped. We're taught from a young age to think, analyze, plan, and worry. Our schools, our jobs, our entire culture celebrates the analytical mind. We're told that success comes from better thinking, that happiness is a problem our intellect can solve. But Eckhart Tolle says something revolutionary. Thinking isn't our highest faculty. While the mind is an incredible tool for practical things, it becomes a serious problem when it takes over your life completely, when you don't realize it's just a tiny aspect of the consciousness that you are. The core of our suffering comes from a deep mistake in identity. We don't just have thoughts. We believe we are our thoughts. We build our sense of self, our very I, from this stream of involuntary thinking. This identification with the mind-made self, which Tolle calls the ego, is the root of our dysfunction. The ego is never satisfied. It lives on comparison, on needing more, on being right. It defines itself by what it has, what it does, and what others think of it. True self-worth, which is unconditional and innate, can never be found there. Instead, we're left with a constant feeling of lack, of being incomplete. We feel a nagging anxiety, a persistent hum of dissatisfaction that we try to fix with external things, achievements, possessions, or relationships, none of which can ever fill the void created by our disconnection from our true selves. This is the prison we live in, an invisible cage built from our own thoughts. This isn't a personal failure. It's a collective human conditioning. We're taught to look for answers everywhere except within. We're taught to value the noise of the mind over the silence of our being. And so, we live on the surface of ourselves, totally unaware of the infinite depth that lies just beneath the turbulent waters of our thinking. So what's the real cost of living this way, of being constantly trapped in the maze of our own minds? It isn't just a subtle feeling of being on edge. The price is huge, and it affects every part of our lives. When we're lost in thought, we pay with our own presence. The first and biggest loss is the loss of the present moment. Tolle emphasizes that the past and future are illusions, mental ideas that don't exist anywhere but our minds. The only reality, the only place where life ever happens, is the now. But how much of our lives do we actually spend here? The thinking mind is like a time machine, constantly pulling us into reruns of yesterday's arguments or dress rehearsals for tomorrow's worries. We eat our lunch while planning our afternoon. We walk through nature while replaying a conflict in our heads. We're with the people we love, but our attention is lost in a mental to-do list. We treat the present moment like a stepping stone to some future moment that never actually arrives, because when it does, we're already looking past it to the next one. We end up missing our entire lives this way. This leads to the second great loss: genuine connection. When we're identified with our egoic minds, we don't really see other people. We see our mental versions of them. We interact not with the living, breathing person in front of us, but with our labels, judgments, and old stories about them. Relationships become a battlefield for egos, a stage for drama and emotional pain. We crave deep connection, yet our own unobserved mind creates the very walls that prevent it. We can't connect with another's being if we're disconnected from our own. Finally, the ultimate price is the loss of joy and inner peace. These aren't just byproducts of getting what you want. They aren't states you can achieve through thinking. Love, joy, and lasting peace can only enter your life through that unconditioned dimension of consciousness. They come from a place of deep stillness, from the very being that is your essence. As long as you believe that you are your mind, you'll look for peace where it can never be found. You'll seek fulfillment in the outside world, a search that is doomed to fail, because even when you get what you want, the unsatisfied mind will just ask, "What's next?" The price of unconsciousness is a life spent searching, but never finding. So what's the way out of this trap? This is the beautiful and profound solution that Eckhart Tolle's teachings point to. The secret isn't that you need to build, achieve, or create a new you. You only need to discover who you already are underneath the surface of your thinking mind. The secret is discovering a deeper dimension inside yourself, a dimension of pure awareness, of still, silent consciousness. Tolle calls this presence or being. It's the very essence of who you are. This isn't some far-off mystical state for spiritual masters. It's your natural state. It's been with you since the moment you were born, but it's been covered up by the constant noise of compulsory thinking. The big shift in understanding is this: you are not the thinker. You are the awareness that is aware of the thinker. Let that sink in for a second. You aren't the voice in your head. You are the one who hears it. The moment you can recognize the thoughts going through your mind as just thoughts, that dimension of awareness is already emerging in you. That's the beginning of freedom. To make this easier to grasp, Tolle uses a powerful analogy. Imagine your mind is the sky. Thoughts and emotions are like clouds. Most of us spend our lives completely identified with the clouds. When a dark, stormy cloud of anxiety rolls in, we say, "I am anxious." We mistake the passing weather for the sky itself. But you are not the clouds. You are the vast, open, and unchanging sky where the clouds appear and disappear. The clouds are temporary. The sky is eternal. Awakening is simply the moment you stop identifying as a cloud and remember that you are the sky. This dimension beyond thought isn't an empty void. It's a field of vibrant stillness and pure potential. It's the source of all true intelligence, wisdom, and creativity. Wisdom doesn't come from more thinking. It arises from stillness. When the mind is quiet, a deeper intelligence has a chance to emerge, an intelligence that's connected to the whole of life. This isn't about being anti-thought. It's about ending the tyranny of the thinking mind and putting it back in its rightful place as a useful servant, not a terrible master. Discovering this dimension is what Tolle describes as an evolutionary leap in consciousness. It's a shift as big as the first sea creature crawling onto land. For a moment, you leave the dense world of thought and touch a new element, the spaciousness of pure awareness. You might fall back into the sea of thinking, but something has changed. You now know that there is land. You know there is a place of refuge from the mind's relentless currents. With practice, you can spend more and more time on that shore of stillness. Before we explore the practical ways to access this dimension, take a moment to reflect. Have you ever had a glimpse of this stillness? A brief gap between your thoughts, maybe while watching a sunset, listening to music, or in a moment of sudden shock? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story might just be the spark that helps someone else recognize the sky beyond their own clouds. The beauty of this teaching is how simple and practical it is. Accessing the dimension of stillness doesn't require years of practice in a monastery. The doorway is here, and the doorway is now. Eckhart Tolle offers a few direct and powerful entry points to step out of the stream of thought and into the peace of presence. The first and most essential practice is what he calls watching the thinker. This is how you begin to disidentify from your mind. The practice is simple. Just notice the thoughts that move through your mind. Observe them like you're watching clouds drift across the sky. Don't judge them or try to stop them. Just be the silent witness. When a thought comes up, you can notice it internally. A thought of worry. Or, there's the thought that I'm not good enough. By being the witness, you are no longer the thought. You are the awareness behind it. In that moment of noticing, you create space. You create a gap. At first, this gap might only last a second or two before the mind pulls you back in. But that's enough. That 1 second is a moment of pure freedom. With practice, these gaps of silent awareness will grow longer and deeper. The second entry point is simply finding the gaps. The stream of thought isn't as continuous as it seems. There are tiny gaps, brief moments of silence between thoughts. The invitation is to put your attention into these gaps. Listen for the silence underneath the noise. These spaces are portals. By becoming more interested in the silence than in the thoughts, you invite more stillness in. It's like music. The silence between the notes is just as important as the notes themselves. Without the silence, there's no melody, only chaos. Your life is the same. Stillness is what gives it depth and meaning. The third, and maybe the most direct portal, is what Tolle calls sensing the inner body. Being present is an experience that involves your whole body. The practice is to take your attention away from your thoughts and direct it into your body. Right now, can you feel the subtle aliveness in your hands? You don't need to think about your hands. Just feel them from the inside. Feel the gentle tingling, the warmth, the life energy. Now, can you feel it in your feet? Can you feel your entire body as a vibrant field of energy? This practice grounds you in the present moment almost instantly. The mind can't easily create problems when your attention is fully anchored in the inner body. It's a direct doorway out of mental chatter and into the realness of your own aliveness. Finally, the fourth entry point is the master key, the power of now. Any moment, no matter how ordinary, can become a gateway to presence. The practice is to give your full attention to a simple sense perception. When you're washing your hands, feel the water. When you're drinking tea, really taste it without distraction. When you hear a bird singing, just listen, without your mind labeling bird. Each of these acts of total attention breaks the spell of the thinking mind. It pulls you out of psychological time and into the eternal present. You don't need to go anywhere or achieve anything. You just need to be fully here. Life isn't your life situation, your collection of problems. Your life is the now. Returning your attention here again and again is the ultimate act of waking up. When you start to regularly access this dimension beyond thought, your life begins to change in ways you might not have expected. This isn't about escaping from the world. It's about engaging with it from a place of deep wisdom. Life's challenges don't just disappear, but your relationship to them changes completely. In fact, challenges often serve to deepen your presence even more. The first and most immediate result is an underlying sense of deep, unshakable peace. This isn't the temporary peace of a problem being solved, but the peace of being itself. It's a stillness that's there even in the middle of external chaos. You realize that you are not the turmoil. You are the peace that observes it. This is the end of suffering, which is always created by resisting what is. From this place of stillness, you can respond to life with wisdom and clarity, rather than reacting from fear and conditioning. The second fruit is the emergence of true creativity and intelligence. The conditioned mind can only rearrange old information. True creativity and original solutions come not from the noise of thought, but from the stillness of awareness. When you're present, you're connected to a universal intelligence far greater than your personal mind. Actions taken from this state have a power and effectiveness that just isn't there when you're acting from the limited view of the ego. Third, Your relationships are transformed. When you're present, you no longer see others through the filter of your ego. You meet them in the shared space of being. You can listen without needing to interrupt or judge. You offer them the greatest gift you can give another person, the space of your presence. Conflicts dissolve more easily because you're no longer fueling them with your own reactivity. You recognize the same consciousness in the other person that you feel in yourself. This is the foundation of true love and compassion. Finally, you discover your true purpose. Many people look for their life's purpose as if it's a role to find or a goal to achieve. But from this perspective, your purpose has two parts. Your outer purpose can change, but your inner purpose is always the same: to awaken. It is to be present and to bring the light of consciousness into this world. When you're aligned with this inner purpose, everything you do becomes infused with a quality of care and love, no matter what it is. You realize you're not a separate person navigating life. You are life itself, expressing itself in this moment. The illusion of separation dissolves, and you feel a deep connection to all of existence. We started with a simple question. Have you ever felt trapped by your own thoughts? We've explored the nature of this prison and looked at Eckhart Tolle's profound secret for finding freedom. The secret is that the door was never locked. The freedom you're looking for isn't in some future achievement, but in the timeless dimension of the now. You are not your mind. You are not your life story. You are not the problems or the successes the world defines you by. You are the vast, silent, and peaceful awareness in which all of those things appear and disappear. The final secret is that this dimension of stillness isn't something you need to get. It's your very essence. It's always here, patiently waiting to be noticed underneath the noise of the mind. The next time you feel overwhelmed by thought, by the storm of worry or judgment, remember the vast, silent sky within. Don't fight the clouds. Don't resist them. Just shift your attention. Remember that you are the sky. This is more than just an idea. It's a practice. It's a new way of living, a life lived not from the head, but from the deep wellspring of being. If this message resonated with the stillness inside you, please subscribe for more explorations into consciousness. Your journey is just beginning, and remember to practice this even for just a few moments today. Take a conscious breath. Feel the aliveness in your hands. Find the space beyond your thoughts. It is always right here,